Well. I'm going to make some college football picks, shall we? For what I think the final eight people will look like. Number one team in the country. Everybody knows who I got as number one. Everyone who knows who's going to be the number one team in the country. No secret. It's going to be Alabama. Won't even be close. Won't even be close. They're going to be the best team in the country. Like, they barely lost anybody. And guess what? Alabama is Alabama. The Tide are going to be back. I promise you guys. Most of their team is back. The only huge loss on their defense is going to be Chris Allen, and they brought in some transfers. Pretty good ones, too. Eli Ricks, Jermaine Burton, Jameer Gibbs, that one little receiver that left. Yeah, and they still got Bryce Young at quarterback. Will Anderson Jr. is coming back. He's going to be the anchor of that defense. I'll take Bama's going to win the SEC. Won't even be close. Only team that I think can beat them is Georgia, because Georgia will have the offense this year. Their defense won't be the same, but they'll have an offense. I think Georgia's offense will be better. Number two, Notre Dame. That's my surprise. Why is Ohio State not number two? Well, it's simple. I got Notre Dame going undefeated. That is a little bit of a hot take because they do play Clemson and Ohio State. Well, the Ohio State game is on the road, so that's going to be a nightmare. And I'm going to be streaming that Ohio State game. I can't wait to call that game. It's going to be such a good game. I can't wait to call it. Hopefully Notre Dame isn't stupid and they don't put Clarence Lewis on Ohio State's number one receiver. And by the way, that receiver happens to be the best receiver in college football and is one of the top 5 Heisman favorites. Yeah. Moving on. Number 3, Utah, and they go undefeated pretty easily too. If you look at their schedule, there's no competition other than Oregon, and that game is in Oregon. That is the one game Utah can lose. Other than that, I don't think they're losing. I don't think Utah's losing other than that game. Nah, they won't be unranked. They'll be ranked, but they're not going to be they won't be like number 2 in the country again. Utah brings back Cameron Rising, who I think is going to be a Heisman finalist. I'm really high on Cameron Rising. Utah's run game. No one can stop their run game. Utah has one of the best run games in the country. I do think Utah gets actually smoked in the playoff by Notre Dame. And I think Utah wins the Pac-12, beats Oregon twice again. I think they beat Oregon twice again. Utah now just owns them. I don't know why, but they do. Number 4, here's why I have Ohio State. Here's where I got Ohio State. Anyone who says Michigan doesn't know how good Ohio State's going to be. Ohio State is going to win the Big Ten. I do think they start 0-1, but that loss is to a pretty good Notre Dame team. I think Ohio State just wins out the rest of the way. Last year, Ohio State should have beat Oregon. Had they beat Oregon, that loss to Michigan I don't think matters. Because Ohio State would have already clinched. Because Michigan State beat Michigan, and Ohio State dismantled Michigan State. Don't think that would have mattered. All that much. Moving on. Number 5. I got Georgia at number 5. The reason I have Georgia number 5 is because it's simple. Their offense. I think their offense. This is the year I think Georgia's offense is going to carry them. Because they lost like everybody on that defense. They did lose Jermaine Burton. That was a huge loss, though. But I think this team is too good for this team is too good to not finish outside the top 6. They're too good. This Georgia team is going to be better. I think their offense is going to carry them. They still got a great offense. enter history. I think Stetson Bennett's gonna have a good year. They have the best tight end group in the country by far, and Brock Bowers and Darius Washington, and who else do they got? Oh, Eric Gilbert. I forgot about Eric Gilbert. They still have some speedster receivers like A.D. Mitchell, Arian Smith. Let's hope he is fine from that injury. I met that dude, by the way. He's actually pretty good. I can tell you he's pretty good. Georgia fans, you'll love him. And at number 6, here's where I have the Clemson Tigers. I think the Clemson Tigers come back, even though they lost Brent Venables to yours truly, the Oklahoma Sooners. I think Clemson will be fine. They replaced him. They actually got a good replacement. I looked at his history at Clemson. Dude's actually pretty good. Dude's a pretty good coordinator. Clemson brought in a pretty good coordinator. I actually like they replaced them based on both coordinators. They lost pretty well. The Venables loss is going to kill them, but I think they'll be fine. I think Clemson's defense will be top 5 in the country again. I think they'll be number 1 out of Alabama. I got Clemson at 6. Now, it's going to depend on who starts. Now, will they make the playoff? It depends on who's quarterback. DJ, no playoff. Cade, maybe playoff. Other than that, no. I don't know. Clemson's playoff really depends on who's their starting quarterback. Moving on. No. Here's Michigan. Here's the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan. Great season last year, but here's where they fall off. They lost their 2 best defenders, and Aiden Hutchinson and David Ojabo. David Ojabo was so huge for them, and they lost him to the Baltimore Ravens, which he would have been a first-round pick if he didn't tear his Achilles, but he did. Aiden Hutchinson is Aiden Hutchinson. No need to say anything about him. Dude was a Heisman finalist. But what kills their playoff chance? The Ohio State game. They haven't won in Columbus since 2000, and until Michigan finally beats them in Columbus, I'm going to pick Michigan to lose every single time. I picked Ohio State to beat Michigan this past year because after what Ohio State did to Michigan State, I was like, this is the best team in the country. Their offense is too good. Not even Georgia can stop this team. And then Michigan beat them. I was like, oh, okay. But I still think Michigan's a good football team, but they will not be in the playoff. They're not going to be in the playoff. Ohio State's going to be the reason they don't make the playoff. It's going to come down to that Ohio State game for who they go to for playoff. I think Ohio State's going to beat them again and in Columbus because Michigan cannot win in Columbus. All right, let's move on to number 8, shall we? Number 8. I got number 8. This is tricky. Very tricky. Number 8, believe it or not, the Ole Miss Rebels. I'm high on Ole Miss this year. They had a pretty good offseason, even though they did lose Corral. They got some good receivers. They got a good quarterback room in Jackson Dart and Luke Altmaier. Their receivers are good. Their receivers are really good. And they got Trigg. And their defense honestly got better. And Lane Kiffin's a good coach. I think Lane Kiffin's a pretty good coach. I think Ole Miss is going to be a very good football team. I'll take the Rebels, go number 8, and a 10-win season. Number 9 is another SEC team, the Arkansas Razorbacks. I'm actually very high on Arkansas. I am very high on Arkansas. I'm very high, especially on KJ Jefferson. I think KJ is going to be a top-notch quarterback in the country next year. And I'm very high on KJ Jefferson and Arkansas. Even though they lost Burks, they still got a pretty good football team. I'm high on Arkansas. The Razorbacks are going to be very good in football. Number 9 is too – you can say number 9 is too high. Fair enough. I understand why you say number 9 is too high for them. Yeah, and number 10. Number 10N Here's a big surprise. I have Minnesota. I'm very high on Minnesota entering this year. Potts and Ibrahim come back. Their run game is going to be really, really good. They're going to have the best run game in the Big Ten beside Ohio State with Travion Henderson and Meion Williams. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. I can't wait. Minnesota's going to be a fun team in the Big Ten. The Big Ten West, other than Wisconsin and I can't really name a contender for Minnesota. Illinois sucks. Nebraska is probably the worst team, and they get worse yearly, and they don't have a quarterback. Number 2, you got Iowa. They lost like everybody. Their defense is gone. Their offense is so bad. It doesn't even matter. Their defense is – they lost their defense. They won't be as good. And Northwestern is absolutely terrible. So Minnesota and Wisconsin, those are the only 2 Big Ten West teams I think can win the division. It's only Wisconsin and Minnesota. The East is strong. The West is weak. So I guarantee you, whoever wins the Big Ten East is going to win the Big Ten. Whether it's Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan State, it doesn't matter. Even though Michigan State is 100% getting worse. Where are we at? 11 now? Yeah, we are at 11. I just got to 10. Good teams. Number 11. Who do I got for number 11? Oh, yeah, that's right. I put these guys at number 11. The Pittsburgh Panthers. I am one of those people who are high on the Pittsburgh Panthers. I think the Panthers are going to have a better season than people expect, especially since they brought in Slovis to replace Pickett. Now, granted, losing Pickett hurts, and they lost Jordan Addison. That hurts too. But I'll still take Pittsburgh over Miami. Miami is not as good as everyone says they are. Believe me. All Mario Cristobal does, he just runs the football. That's it. He runs the football. And that's it. So, yeah, I have Pittsburgh at number 11. Yeah, it is 11. Number 12, Oklahoma. Oklahoma at number 12. Now, Lincoln Riley's gone. Caleb Williams left. Mario left. A lot of people left. But I think Oklahoma stayed about the same as they did last year. I think Oklahoma's going to be about the same as last year. Dylan Gabriel's a quarterback now. Granted, he's coming off a clavicle injury. But he actually looked good in the spring game. And Hazelwood. I forgot to mention Hazelwood for Arkansas. I forgot to mention Hazelwood. But they got Hazelwood now from Oklahoma. Potential's there, but got ruined because he tore his ACL. But anyways, Oklahoma, relatively the same. Venables as coach. I think Venables will be better than Lincoln Riley. Because Venables actually is aggressive and physical. Riley is not. Lincoln Riley is so passive, and he is not physical at all. Dude's a soft coach. Oklahoma, I think, is just fine. I got them at my number 13. Number 14 in I don't remember who I put at 14. Oh yeah, Texas A&M. Texas A&M is so overhyped. Dude, when will y'all learn? A&M's win over Bama was a fluke. Everyone knows that. A&M got worse after that Bama win. They lost to LSU. How do you lose at LSU? LSU is terrible. So yeah, Texas A&M, criminally overrated. Number 1 recruiting class. All of a sudden, after they had 2 5-stars in the last 7 years, now they get 8 of them in 2022 when NIL is introduced. Something's fishy there. By the way, I am calling that Alabama game. Yeah, you're going to see me diss Jimbo endlessly on that. That's gonna be the where I diss Jimbo. That's gonna be the diss. That's gonna be the Jimbo diss stream. Screw Jimbo, dude's a joke. But Texas A&M still a top 15 football team. I got them at 14. 15 is Baylor. The Bears, they did lose a lot of their defense, but they're still the second best team in the Big 12. That's how terrible the Big 12 is. The Big 12 is so bad, it doesn't even matter. Oklahoma and Baylor are going to be top 2 in the Big 12 this year. Moving on. What are we, 17 now? Yeah, we are 17. Here's Miami Hurricanes. Miami's not a top 10 team like a lot of people are saying they are. They're not even close to that. They're not even going to win the Coastal. They're so overrated. Do they not realize Mario Cristobal's coaching? Well, you want to know what he does? Run the ball. He runs the ball. That's all he does. Run the ball. The dude does nothing but run the ball. Like, Miami is not... Van Dyke is not going to be that good under Cristobal. He's not. I don't care they brought in a Michigan coach who was pretty good. Dude, Michigan was a run-heavy team. You think Miami is going to be pass-happy with 2 run-heavy heavy coaches? Absolutely not. There's no way they'll be pass-happy. There's no way Van Dyke's going to have that high draft stock. Dude's going to lose his stock, if anything. So, yeah, number 18, I think. Are we at 18? I had Miami. Yep. 18. We are at 18. On 18, I have the Oregon Ducks. Oregon. Dan Lanning's their new coach. They play Georgia week 1. I have you losing 2 games, but it's 2 ranked teams, Utah and Georgia. Utah, I've said it, best team in Pac-12. Georgia, they're Georgia. It's simple. Georgia is Georgia. Moving on, Oregon, they should be good. 19. Yeah, 19. 19, yeah, here are the USC Trojans. Trojans, USC is not as good as everyone says they are. I'm telling you, they're not. They're not as good as everybody says they are. Like, USC football is probably the most overrated team in the country. Like, oh, they got Lincoln Riley, they got Caleb Williams, they got Jordan Addison, they have all this talent. So what? Lincoln Riley is not that good. I'm sorry, he's not. USC football's a joke. They're a joke nowadays. I'm sorry. USC is not that good. And I guarantee you, in like out of USC. 17, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. 5 years, Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma. He left Oklahoma for USC. And 4 to 5 years, he's going to get run out of USC. I'm willing to bet he does. Number 20. The Virginia Tech Hokies. I have the Hokies ranked. This is the first time I've ever had the Hokies ranked in the preseason poll. I didn't have the Hokies ranked in 2020. I was high on the Hokies, but I didn't think they'd be ranked. I didn't rank them in 2018. I had them winning the Coastal, but I had them losing to Florida State, and that didn't happen. I had them losing. Who else did I have them losing to in 2018? I don't remember, but still. The Hokies are going to be decent under new coach and Brent Pry. Yeah. 21, Penn State. Penn State, I don't know what to make of them. They're so inconsistent. I don't know what to make of Penn State, like, at all. These dudes are the definition of bipolar. Like, I don't know what to make of Penn State at all. That team is so inconsistent. I don't know why people think that James Franklin's the guy. He's clearly not. They won't win with James Franklin, but at the same time, they won't be bad with James Franklin. But they weren't good last year. They weren't bad either. They were just okay, middle of the pack. 22, isn't it? Yeah, 22, the Wisconsin Badgers. I forgot to rank these dudes, but I'm gonna rank them. Wisconsin. Wisconsin's probably the favorite in that. Wisconsin will be second in that division, though. Nonetheless, that division is actually terrible. 23, Tennessee. I'm high on Tennessee. Hendon Hooker, great season his first year in the hype ball. The Vols, I think, will be better next year than people think. I'm high on Tennessee. So yeah, 23, isn't it? Or is it 22? Maybe 23, but 23 I have 23 is Kentucky. Will Levis is overrated. Everybody I've seen has said Will Levis number one pick. He's not the number one pick. Ain't no way he's going number one overall. I'm sorry. Oh, it is 23. Will Levis is not the number one overall pick. He's good, but he's not number one overall pick worthy. Kentucky's going to be good, but they're not as good as everybody says that they're going to be. Now, this is the first time I've ever ranked Kentucky in my preseason poll. 24 now. 24. I have four. I don't remember who I have at 24. Oh, duh. I actually have Washington at 24. I think Washington is better this year than people think they are, but at the same time, they're still not really that good. They're decent enough to be ranked, in my opinion, but they won't be as bad as they were last year. Last year's team was atrocious. This upcoming year, I think, will be better for them. And at 25, of my final spot in the rankings, I have Florida State. Yes, I have Florida State 25. Because I think the Seminoles improved, and I think their program on the rise. I only think this program is going up. Now, is this a challenging year? Could this be challenging for Norvell? Possibly. Florida State's defense, I think, will be better now that the cancer of the team is gone in Jarvis Brownlee. He left Louisville over. Actually, he left for Louisville over NIL. Dude would have got more NIL at Florida State. He's not even getting that much NIL at Louisville. But yeah, Jordan Travis, I think, will be a solid quarterback next year. By no means do I think he will be good, but he'll be good enough to win Florida State a lot of games. Like, he won the Miami game, and, well, Van Dyke's an idiot for not knowing the rule. That's my top 25, and let's look at my conference championship games. SEC, I have Alabama and Georgia again. Seems like these two are always going to meet as long as Saban and Kirby are still there. My winner, Alabama, no surprise. That's my number one team in the country. No wonder why. You wonder why I have this team number one? This team is going to be too good next year. And I think that ends Georgia's playoff run because I don't think they're going to have two SEC teams in again, especially when you have possibly 3 undefeated teams, in my opinion, in the playoff. The Pac-12, I have Utah and Oregon again, and Utah rolls over Oregon. Same story as last year. Utah just rolls over Oregon. Utah's too good. I'm sorry. The Utes are too good. I don't think this Utah team loses a game until the playoff, possibly. ACC and Pitt. My winner is easily Clemson. Easily Clemson. Everybody's playing down on Clemson, but they don't realize how good Clemson's defense really is. The Atlantic is going to come down to Clemson, Florida State, NC State, and that's it. The Coastal is going to be Pitt and Miami, and I think Pitt's going to win. Moving on, the Big 12? I have Oklahoma and Baylor, and I have Oklahoma winning. I have Oklahoma winning under their first year with Venables. One of their last Big 12 titles will be, I think, 2022. Over Baylor. It'll be a close game because Matt Rule. But Venables knows Matt Rule's defense. So I think Venables is going to come up with a game plan along with Levy to knock off Baylor in the Big 12 championship game. Moving on, Big 10, I have Ohio State, Minnesota, and is this a no-brainer? Come on, Ohio State easy win. Ohio State easily wins that conference. They're out for this Ohio State team is out for blood. Even if they lose a game, it won't hurt their playoff chance. It really won't. They'll make the playoff even with a loss. And the Pac. Actually, I already said Pac-12. Not a single group of 5 team is in my rankings. Why is that? Because I don't think the group of 5 this year is any better than last year. Last year's group of 5 was really good with, Coastal, Cincinnati, Houston, SMU, Memphis. A lot of good group of 5 teams. Week. Now let's look at the playoff, shall we? The college football playoff rankings. Alabama 1, Utah 3, and Ohio State 4. Alabama-Ohio State's going to be a great game. C.J. Stroud versus Bryce Young. Jackson Smith-Njigba versus Elias Ricks. Jermaine Burton and Tyler Harrell versus the Ohio State secondary. It'd be a good game. I'm going to roll with Bama. Why? Bama is Bama. It's that simple. They'll just keep winning. They don't lose in round 1 of the playoff. They haven't ever lost in round 1 of the playoff. When they lose in the playoff, it's in a championship game. Moving on, Notre Dame big. It would be because Notre Dame has beaten an actually great team. Utah has not. Like, the best team Utah would beat is Oregon. Easy, too. They beat Oregon twice. Notre Dame wins that one big. The Orange Bowl, I think, is going to be Clemson and Georgia. I think Clemson and Georgia or Clemson and Minnesota. And I think Clemson's going to win the Orange Bowl regardless. Because I think what stops Georgia's offense is going to be a defense. Like Clemson, Bama, anyone. I feel like had Ohio State played Georgia, Ohio State would have beat them. Who stops that offense? Nobody. That offense is too overpowered. But this year, I think Georgia's offense will be better than people think, and I think Clemson beats them. I don't know what the bowls are, so I'm gonna end it there. All I know is the Orange Bowl is gonna be is not a playoff game. I don't know what bowl games are a playoff game and what aren't. That's the thing. Yeah, but since then, have they lost? No. They've made it to the national championship game. Oh, Peach and Fiesta, but still, I'm not going to go for the New Year's Six because my New Year's Six is a little complicated. My national championship game is Alabama and Notre Dame, and I have Alabama winning the national championship again for the 19th I think, because they've won like 18 of them. Yeah, they've won 18 of them. So that'd be their 19th time winning a national championship. Anyways, I'll see y'all for the Thursday Game 5 post game for the Rangers and Lightning.